I just need to get this out. They fired my disabled husband, so I took everything. He worked for them for 10 years, then they left him broken. My husband. If you've ever felt helpless watching someone you love get betrayed, especially by people they gave everything to, hit that like button. Subscribe if you believe in justice, because what you're about to hear is one of the most personal and powerful revenge stories I've ever told. It started like any other day. June 30th. My husband, 832, healthy, strong, proud, got up from his chair at work, and suddenly a broken bar. Something wasn't right. He felt a sharp ache deep in his lower back. At first, he brushed it off. Just a pulled muscle, maybe some minor strain. After all, he worked hard, day-long shifts, late hours, rarely took time for himself. Why would he worry over a little pain? But by the next morning, a broken bar, he couldn't even move. The pain was excruciating, radiating from his tailbone, shooting down his leg like lightning. He couldn't sit, couldn't walk. I watched the strongest man I know crumble into a shell of himself, not just physically a broken bar but mentally, emotionally. We assumed it was sciatica. Treated it like that at first, pain meds, rest, stretching. But nothing helped. And as the days passed, a broken bar, it only got worse. We began what I call the medical maze. Doctor after doctor. X-ray here. MRI there. Insurance calls. Denials. Appeals. More appointments. More confusion. No answers. Just shrugs. One doctor even had the audacity to suggest it was in his head. Can you imagine that? Watching your partner, a man who once carried all your groceries in one trip just to show off, now unable to stand on his own, a broken bar, and someone implies it's psychosomatic. And then a broken bar, the real betrayal came. A phone call from his boss. Hey, a broken bar, we're going to have to let you go. That was it. After nearly a decade of loyal work, no complaints, no write-ups, always showing up, even when he was sick, even when he missed family holidays, a broken bar, they didn't even ask if he was okay. No support. No check-in. Just fired. And with that call, we lost his job, his health insurance, and most of our financial security. A broken bar in a single moment. We had 6 days left on our coverage. 6. And still no diagnosis, no treatment plan, no income. Only fear. And pain. And silence. I had to stay strong. For him. For our 2 daughters. For the unborn child I had just found out I was carrying, 5 weeks pregnant. A miracle we'd been trying for over a year to receive, a broken bar, and yet now, it felt like the timing couldn't be more terrifying. I wanted to scream. I wanted to break down. But I couldn't. Because the man who always protected USA broken bar now needed me to be his shield. He cried at night when he thought I was asleep. He'd whisper, apologies, a broken bar like this was somehow his fault. He couldn't even shower alone. His independence, his confidence stripped away. I told him every day, "We'll get through this." But inside a broken bar I was cracking. Then, one afternoon, as I was on the phone with yet another insurance rep who had the nerve to say, "Ma'am, you're just going to have to wait 6 to 8 weeks for revaluation," I heard a crash in the bathroom. He had fallen. Again. I ran in to find him on the floor, crying. Not just from pain but from humiliation. He looked at me and whispered, "You should have married someone stronger." That was it. That was my breaking point. Not in defeat. They broke my husband. So I made it my mission to break their silence. First, I documented everything. Emails. Termination letters. Medical records. Audio of his phone calls with HRA, including one where his supervisor said, "We're not a charity. We can't afford dead weight." Dead weight. That's what they called him. Next, I wrote a letter and a dossier to our local news. Then to national labor advocacy groups. I posted on every single employee review site, Glassdoor, Indeed, LinkedIn. I wrote truth. Not slander. Just the brutal facts. And then came the power move. His employers had government contracts. That meant federal labor laws applied. And guess what? Firing a disabled worker while they're actively seeking medical evaluation with no attempt at accommodation? That's a violation. I filed an ADA complaint, Americans with Disabilities Act, and filed for wrongful termination through a lawyer friend of a friend who was just as furious as I was. While that was processing, the post I made on Reddit, yes, this very story you're hearing now, went viral. People found the company. They left reviews. They started boycotting. Former employees came out with their own stories. Turns out, we weren't the first. Their stock took a hit. 2 of their largest clients pulled out within weeks. And finally HR called us back. Not to apologize, but to settle. They didn't want this in court. They didn't want discovery. They didn't want the press. So guess what? They paid 6 figures. Health insurance reinstated temporarily. And more importantly, a public statement admitting poor handling of employee medical leave. They thought it would protect them. But to me it was admission. It was validation. The day that settlement cleared, I wheeled my husband, yes, still in a chair, into our favorite coffee shop. He looked exhausted, a broken bar but free. I held his hand and said, "They thought they broke you. But you didn't need to fight a broken bar because I fought for you." He looked at me, eyes brimming, and said, "You saved me." And just then a broken bar, our youngest daughter spilled her juice, our eldest yelled about a napkin, and I felt the smallest kick from the life growing inside me. It wasn't a perfect ending. But it was ours. You never know how strong you are until you're forced to be. And you never know how cold the world can be broken bar until the system you trust turns its back. But sometimes a broken bar justice does arrive. Not through age, but through resilience. If this story made you feel something, anger, hope, pain, pride, smash that like button. Tell us in the comments, have you ever seen someone finally get the justice they deserved? And if you want more stories of real people getting real revenge, subscribe. Because there are more where this came from.